Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist, and happy Mother's Day to everybody. I hope y'all are having a gorgeous day. I've heard it's beautiful outside. I have not been out there, I'm looking out my window, but I'm excited to get out there and enjoy the day. But for right now, we are painting, so we're doing our lovely sea turtles. So let me show you a couple of models first. This is the one that I've been showing mostly on Facebook. So this is the one with really pretty little roses. They're just covered with roses. Everything is coming up roses for these beautiful little sea turtles. We have that one. Then, I understand if not everybody wants to do roses. So this is a little bit more, I don't know, just more like a real sea turtle. So it's got a different pattern. And I did post trace pictures of both different kinds, and I'll talk about both as I teach so you can have an idea of how to do both. So we've got this lovely kind, and then we have this lovely kind. All right, so I've got both of those, and I'll have pictures of both down below. And now let's look at the trace. So we have, with our little packets, if y'all ordered these, we still have these on our website. So they came with the little sea turtle, the baby sea turtle. And then we've got a couple of different shapes of the roses. And then I'm finding it and digging for it, cute little leaf. All right, so it makes all of that really, really easy. I use a Sharpie to go ahead and trace around all of those shapes. And then, by the way, a lot of my roses are free-handed because I'm so used to doing them. But that's why we have templates for y'all. If y'all are not comfortable with that, you can certainly just use those. Or if you like the way I do mine are just big lumpy circles, so it just makes it really, really easy. Howdy! David's on here. Superman! All right, so let me show you the different styles we've got. This is that style that's a little bit more like just a regular sea turtle that you would really see. This is the fantasy sea turtle, so the one that has roses all over his back. All right, so fresh paint. I've been painting that. All right, so this is one option. This is another option. I will teach both ways to do that, so it's really fun. And yes, you can buy templates for this. So those are all on tipsyartist.com. We've got the entire kit that comes with. So glad you asked. Da-da-da-da. I'll talk about that. All right, so we've got this really fun little packet. It's got your premium canvas, paint, 3 brushes, and then we've got the whole template kit that I showed y'all. And then this video will stay live forever. Well, I won't be like live interacting with you. We're not quite to that stage. I don't think y'all want to see me 24/7. I don't know, you can ask my husband what that's like. Fun times. But anyway, we will have this video. It will remain up. You can come back and watch it anytime you want. And you can fast forward or pause it, whatever you need, so that you can really like hone in on one area that you really want to work on or whatever. So always there for you. Okay, so I've got the traced. I did do a little bit of work ahead with the black, but this is what it will look like in the beginning. Either one of these. And I'm going to show you how I start with the black, and then I'll do that famous Martha Stewart trick where how she just magically pulls it from the oven and it's done. So we're going to have a little bit of that. We're just going to magically have all of our background painted in at some point. All right, but to get started, these are the brushes that come with the kit, so that's what that looks like. And then I'm going to start with my biggest brush that I have here, and I will start to paint into the black background. That'll be my first step here, so I'm going to go ahead and push back and forth here into the paint. Load it up nicely. You want a lot of paint on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just push this to the side. When I'm working into a really large area, I want to get really good coverage over the background. So I go ahead and lay this brush over on the side, just parallel to the canvas. This will give you really good coverage over that canvas. You can see how you're starting to get a little bit of a peekaboo with that white coming through. So as much as possible, you want to hold that brush over to the side. This is in the large areas where you've got room for it. Then when you start to do your cut-in work, On a longer line, you want to try to use this bigger brush as much as possible. So you go ahead and hold it like a pencil, and you just work it here on the side, just like that. Make your line edge. So as much as possible, you want this long line edge of the brush to work for you. So I hold it like a pencil and just hold it just like that. All right, so I go ahead and just work it all the way around as much as I can for these long sections. So that's how we do most of our cutting work, and then when we come out to the background, then we want to go ahead and turn that brush over to the side and just work into that background. Now we also have little tiny areas to work into as well. So put this mama in the bucket of water. By the way, that's a nice little thing. Always have water nearby. And when you're letting your brushes rest, always make sure they rest in the water, because acrylic paint will set up and dry in about 5 minutes and it can ruin your brushes. So you can keep your brushes fresh that way. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a smaller brush. I've got my little bit here. And I want to go ahead and do a little twist into the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, twist it between my fingertips, just like that. This will rotate it into a nice fine point. And then I go ahead and work it into these little tiny areas. So just hold it like a pencil. That will give you a lot more precision and control when you're working into these really tiny areas here. That also gets around those tiny little curves. So a little bit, very helpful around tiny little areas. And then switching back over to our bigger mama brush to go ahead and fill into all of these larger areas. So that will be the first step, is just filling in all of this black in the background. That's how I have it for mine. You're welcome to do a different color if you want to. So that's always encouraged and welcome to do. But for this one, we've got all this black. It really helps all of that beautiful color pop out in front. Another option might even be just to leave all this white in the background too. That way you can use any vibrant color you want over the surface of the sea turtle and it just pops right out in front. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do a little switch. It's a little fun sheet. So, ta-da! We're all done with our black. Yay! Okay, so we've got all of that background done. Isn't that awesome? And she's amazing, just like that, just woo, fast. Okay, so now we have our turquoise. I think I've got a fresh, I've been painting a lot lately. Ah, ta-da, fresh. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to mix up a little bit of the turquoise paint. And so I am going to use this little lovely right here. This is about the size of the mama brush. I've got a couple of different brush packs for sale on my website, so that's where these come. They're all Royal brush. Royal and Langnickel, say that 10 times fast. Just say Royal brush, it's easier. But anyway, they're fabulous. They are premium brushes, really good quality. So we're super excited about these. All right, so we've got green, blue, and white. I'm going to mix all of these all together. This will give me a really pretty turquoise, so I'm going to use this all in the background of the turtle. Happy Mother's Day to you! Yay! Howdy, everybody. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and push this into the shape. And again, this is turquoise, so this is blue, green, and white. So when we cut in here, we also want to hold the brush more on that line edge. So we'll do that when we work in and around the inside of the shape. And if you do happen to go out of bounds a little bit, the good news is the cleanup is really easy, because you can always come back in with a little touch of black around the edge and just clean that up. But I'm going to go ahead and work into the center here. And then when I want to smooth this out, kind of feather it out, I do turn that brush handle more over to the side, and that'll give me really good coverage over the surface. So use more of the line edge when you're working around those curves, and then turn it more over to the side when you're working into the larger area. And then I will have to switch to a smaller brush here in just a little bit. Howdy, howdy, more new people. Michelle, Jordan, Mariah, and then I think, if I'm saying it right, Rona. It's like in a weird place. It's coming in over my turtle and I can't see the name really well. So, and then I run out of names and then it just goes off into cyberspace. But howdy everybody, and happy Mother's Day. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and work all the way around this shape. And I don't have that much big space. It's a lot of little spaces in here because I've got so much cut-in work with my roses, so I'm going to have to switch to a smaller brush pretty quickly. I don't know what everybody else's plans are today, but we're going to go have a picnic after this, like a dinner picnic. And I'm super excited that it is not raining. You never know, it could change its mind and rain, but. Joe did all the shopping. Joe is my honey bear, and he is very excited. He planned all of this. And he has tables, tables, chairs, cooler, all the fixings for a picnic. He's got fried chicken, pies. We're going completely off keto. This whole month has been a complete keto cheat. We're not doing any of the rules anymore. Thank you, thank you. Oh, and yes, I will provide a link for this underneath, I promise. Yeah, it's on our website, tipsyartist.com, but I'll provide a specific link just for this project to make it easy on you. But yeah, we're going to Norman, Oklahoma today to have a picnic. It's going to be very exciting. And I'm super excited to cheat on my keto diet and have pie and fried chicken. I'm so excited. It's amazing what you get excited for in life, to cheat on your diet. We've been on keto for like 2 or 3 years, and the longer you on it, the more you cheat. I don't know, you just after a while, you're like, oops. Oh, and I forgot some black right there. I'll have to fix that. And I have the power to do that, so that's amazing. All right. All right, so I am definitely having to, I gotta switch to a smaller brush because this guy is too big. So I need a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and twirl it into the paint. So as I twist it between my fingertips, this will give me a nice fine point. So I need to start working into these smaller areas here. And I've got my turquoise mix, and it is blue, green, and white. Kind of help you know, these are all going to be roses. My tracing might look a little bit odd and scattered at this point. And then these are going to be the little seashell patterns over the top. And then I have a boo-boo right there. A little. Let me go ahead and fix that so that it doesn't look so weird. That actually needs to be black. So I'm going to come in with my little bit brush and some black and fix this so that it doesn't look so weird. I missed a spot earlier. Yay! Okay, that looks a lot better. Makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so now, switching gears back to the turquoise here. Is that KK? Aww. Thank you, KK. I'm going to work in and around this pattern. So I've got my rose pattern in here, and then I've got little tiny leaves that are coming off the side. And mowing in the backyard, picking up branches. My girls will be so excited to be out there. Yes, that sounds fabulous. I mowed my yard yesterday, and it was fun. Felt really good to be outside. We have to take advantage of this while we can here in Oklahoma, because here in a little bit, it's going to be very, very hot. I just have a few little spots of turquoise for the, basically we're just doing the body of the sea turtle here. Right, now I gotta fill in the little babies. You know, after I did this, I realized I probably need to make some smaller babies. So, because we're gonna run out of room. If you have more than 2 children, I don't know, maybe you could have some of them sort of swimming out beyond the borders. We all know some of those children. They will not be confined by borders or boundaries of any kind. That might fit their personality really well. But these 2 little babies are right behind Mama, doing exactly as they are told. Got a cute little baby tail. Kind of take it out with a soft twist. Yes, I like to mow. Me too, actually. I think it's really, really peaceful. That was my very first paying job as a young girl, was mowing the lawn. All right, there's one. Now we're going to work on the second baby. Now, I did something a little weird. I overlapped a teeny bit here. So I need to make sure that I have really good contrast between one baby coming out in front of the mama leg. So I'm going to make this, I'm going to push in a lot more white into this mix. and make it a much lighter seafoam green so that I can see where his little leg comes in over the top, so that I don't lose this shape. And I missed a spot there, so I gotta go back and fix that, fill that in. Because that little white spot right there, that's the mama leg, so I gotta fix that real quick so I don't forget. So I've got my little bit brush, real tiny little brush, and go ahead and fill this in. Yes, it will. Yep, going out to Norman. Surprised my mom out in Norman. She came out here to see me last weekend, and she brought Red Lobster. So good. We cheated again. We just keep cheating on our diet. She brought cake, this gorgeous cake, Red Lobster, flowers, plants. I may be forgetting something, but yeah, it was really fun. We had a really fun time. It felt like my first time to really see somebody. Well, I saw you. You came by to see me here in the shop. And then, yeah, we get kind of, you know, we're all quarantined, so we're starting to get out a little bit, you know, so had a little bit of getting out this week. It feels weird, but it's good, you know. All right, I got a teeny tiny little baby tail, so you either have to just really twist super tight to get a super tiny little twist on the end, or you can come in with a much smaller brush like that, much tinier, to get into this little area. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and go with the smallest brush I got, because this is a pretty really big size little bit brush, so I've got smaller ones too I can go ahead and use. All right. So I think I've got all my background work here with my cute little sea turtles. Got the background color done, which I've got it all done in like this really pretty turquoise, and I went ahead, so that I could have this overlap, I went ahead and made this one more of a seafoam green so that it pops out over the top. All right, so now we need to come in with the colors of our pretty little roses. So I've got another plate here ready to go with some brighter colors in here. And this is also fun. These colors are also fun for just this basic pattern here too. So I'm going to teach both ways how to do it. It's very, very similar, especially for the first layer of color. So this first color that I will mix up will be a really pretty pink. So I will do some red and some white. This is my Big Daddy brush. This doesn't actually come with the kit. We do have another kit for Saloon that's got kind of like a Big Daddy in there. So you can use this big size, or you can just use Mama. Works really well. But red and white makes a really nice pink. So I'm going to go ahead and place all of this into the background. So my roses will look a lot like big lumpy circles at first. So I'm going to have a few that are just pink. And I'm going to switch up and do some different colors too. I think I'll do pink all the way around the outside. I'm going to switch, and it gets smaller in the area, so I'll switch to a smaller brush. And now I want a little bit of white, a little bit of purple, so I'll do like a lavender color. Oh, thank you. For those of you watching this later, what did she say thank you to? She just said, I love the way you paint roses. So I said, thank you. All right, now I've got my really pretty lavender, and that was just white and purple, white and purple. Let's do another one over here. And I want a purple rose here. You know what, let's just do one here too, it's just easier. And then you can fill in some solid color into some of these other shapes too. So like this sea turtle here, if you're just doing solid color into this type of shape, then you could take whatever brush you're using, which it could be Little Buddy or the Mama brush. I would think the Mama brush for this size would be the best tool. So this is Mama. And then you just want to hold it like a pencil and do your line edge around those shapes. And I just free-handed these really random patterns in the center. And I did post a picture of these. It's on a post just before this, so when I get done, I will actually go ahead and post up all those same pictures right underneath the video so that you can always access it anytime. So yes. Yes, me too. Yeah, so the comment there, if you can't see it, was just missing the live shows. So we will get back to that soon. I know it's a little, we were most definitely a large gathering, as many of you know. So it's going to be just a hot minute, as they say, before we are able to do the large gatherings. We are starting to open up our studio, though, at the end of May for smaller gatherings. And because we have about 5,000 square feet, and I looked at Walmart and they had 5 people per 1,000 square feet, so we figured we could do 25 people in here and just kind of spread everybody out and plan for it that way. So we've got a public party on the 23rd, May 23rd, Saturday. And then also on May 30th, we've got one. So y'all have to check that out. But we can plan ahead and just make sure everybody's got all that lovely social distancing going on. So yeah. All right, so we've got our beautiful lavender. Went ahead and did a little bit. You can see either do the roses, which look like big lumpy circles, or you can start to fill into those other patterns that we have going on with the sea turtle. All right, next up, I need a different color. So I'm going to go ahead and do some really pretty coral. So I want my Mama brush again, and here's Mama. And then I'm going to use, so coral's really pretty. It is a mix of the orange, a little bit of red, and then a little bit of white. So we'll mix all of that together, and this will give us a really pretty coral color. Very peachy. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and put this into the center. And roses always look a little bit weird at first. Again, just that big lumpy circle, but I promise once we come in with all that beautiful pattern over the top, then it will really begin to evolve and take shape as a rose. All right, so I also have a little bit of these little patterns up here at the top that are just basically the shell pattern on the top of the sea turtle here. So I'm going to go ahead and, or the scales rather, on the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and push some of this color into this little shape here. And I'm going to have to switch to a smaller brush, I can tell. Alright, that's about as far as I'm going to go with Mama, so I'll put her over to the side in the water. Now I've got my little buddy. He's a little flat brush. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and place this into this smaller shape here. Okay, that's looking awesome. All right, so now what I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and come in with the really pretty little leaves that'll kind of come out from this lovely bouquet of roses that our lovely little sea turtles are carrying around. All right, so I need to mix up a light green, and I'm going to use Little Buddy again. So here's Little Buddy, and I want green and white, green and white. Mix those two together. So there it is. It's very lovely. I do want it to be very contrasting next to this turquoise. So I'm definitely going to add a lot more white to it, brighten it up quite a bit. Howdy! And then I will go ahead and hold the brush like a pencil. And then I'll do these nice little lines around the leaves. And I'll show you on a plate too how to go ahead and make these shapes. All right, so leaf shape. So basically it looks like making a parentheses and then another parentheses. And then you go ahead and fill that in. And then I like to put them in pairs usually, one right next to the other, but one a little bit smaller, and then fill that in, and then that really makes it evolve and look like more like a leaf. Now there's another way to do it that looks like the letter V. So if you're coming off the rose and you can make a little curve down, another little curve down, and see how that looks like a letter V, and you can go ahead and just fill into that too. And if you're having a hard time with, if you got to send a message to your brain to do this as a beginner painter. So sometimes what you have to do is you have to turn your canvas in the right direction that it needs to go. So if you have to turn it like this to make that letter V and then fill in, feel free to do that and just move it around so that you can get it in just the right position for yourself, or get the right message to your brain to fulfill the right move so you get the look that you want. Now when I first placed this on, so that was very translucent and I had a lot of line work showing through. So I also kind of turned that brush over to the side and then lay it over just parallel to the canvas. That will give really good coverage over the surface. So at first I do a line that I have to hold it more like a pencil, but sometimes you'll have transparency that way, so then you'll have to come back over, turn it over to the side, and just do a quick little side stroke over the top, and then that will give you that nice coverage over the surface of that shape. Lots of little baby leaves. You can just keep going and going and going. Okay. I think I'm happy with the leaves. Who knows? I might pose it later and add more, but I think we've got a good start on that. All right, so now we're going to have fun with the pattern work over the top of the roses. So they won't look like big lumpy circles anymore. So it's about to get exciting. All right, so now I need some of my little bit brushes. Let's see here. Got a bunch in the bath. I'm not finding what I want. I want one smaller. There we go. Ha, okay. So this is what comes in our kit. This is our little bit brush. This is just the right size I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and place this into the white paint. And then the basic first pattern for all the roses will be a layer of white first, and it will look like you make a little parentheses or like a half circle. And then we do this going all the way around the shape of the rose in a circular pattern. And then we keep repeating that, but we work it towards the inside of the rose. So that's our first pattern. And I'm going to bring the canvas a little bit closer here so you can see it really well. So again, it looks like a little half circle. Or tell your brain it's like making a little parentheses, and just keep working it around in a circular pattern. All the way around here. So that's that first layer. So I have a lot of this to do. This is a very therapeutic part of the process too, I think. The other thing you'll notice is that as I lay the paint on, I have a tendency to kind of hold it on the side of the brush. And my paint is still a little bit wet underneath, so if it does get a little bit too much of a mix with the pink, and I really want that white to pop out over the top, so sometimes I'll have to quickly wipe it off on a paper towel nearby and then come back into that pure white to get that nice pop of pure white right over the top. And on the little baby turtles, I'll show you a different style of rose as well. Some people find that a different style is a little bit simpler. It's more of a spiral shape that I do. So I'll show you that style as well. Picked up a big bunch of turquoise on that. Got a little bit muddy. Do not want that. So I dried it off. I'm going to go ahead and sweep back into a little bit more of this pure white and then push this over the top. Yay! Okay, so that's my first layer. Alright, I'm going to wait and do those differently, so don't worry, I'm going to get to those here in a minute. But up here, we're going to keep this style initially. So the next layer that comes in will be the darkest color. And it's basically just a repeat of the same pattern, but we'll come in with the darkest color next. So if I have a pink rose, and I will come in with just bright red on my little bit brush, and I'm going to do just a little spot right in the center. Do a light drag and then lift off with a light hand, and then I repeat that same little light sketch of that half circle pattern and take that around that shape. And there is a nice little soft blend in with the white, and that creates that abstracted look of the roses. So I'll work in all this red over the pink. Now I picked up a little bit of that turquoise, so remedy to that is wait for your turquoise to set up and dry, which you have the time to do if you're just working at home. And that way you won't have to worry about having that come into the mix of your roses and mudding it up. But for the sake of time here, I'm having to go ahead and work while it's still a little bit wet. So if that does happen to you though, you can just quickly wipe it off. I've got a little paper towel nearby, and I just do a quick wipe, or you can either just rinse off your brush too and just dry it off really well, and then just reload back into the bright colors, because you don't want those darker colors to get in there and muddy it up, because they will take away the vibrancy of these bright colors that are coming in now over the top here. They don't play well together. Sometimes you can get a nice mix with something underneath and it works beautifully. But unfortunately, if you touch into a little bit of this turquoise, you can see here it kind of pulls it to a dark gray or a mauve. And I don't want that. I want to keep this very bright and vibrant over the top. All right, awesome. Okay, so my next step, oh, you know what? Nah, I was thinking about doing red on a few more, but no. Okay. I'm going to come in with a really pretty bright orange over the top here in the center, because this is that coral rose we had. So I do want to make sure that my brush is very dry. Before I go back in, I don't want any water runs to disturb all this work that I've done. So I've got just a bright, bold orange here. I'll do a little spot right in the center, and then a few more sweeping half circles. Kind of lay that gently over the top. Beautiful. All right, now I'm going to come in with some purple, because that would be the best contrasting color. Or something else that's quite beautiful and striking over this is just a cobalt blue as well, but basically something darker. So I'm going to go ahead and use this purple, bright purple here, and then I'll push this right in the center, nice little spot, and then little half circles. Circle spot, that's that shadow in the middle of the rose. And just do light little pushes of half circles all the way around. And you know, if you have a shaky hand, which a lot of people do that come to my classes, it actually kind of works in your favor for this. You can kind of just shake it out. It's just it adds to the beauty of it. It's really nice. And I'll actually kind of intentionally kind of wiggle my hand just a little bit for some of this, so that I can get a little bit more of an organic, natural quality. You don't want all of those little half circles to be too perfect. All right, so now I'm going to do a very simplified spiral shape over these two roses so you can have a different idea of how to do things. Some people prefer a much more simplified method to doing the roses. So you can do white or the darkest color, either way. So I've got my little bit brush. I'm going to do a little twist here into the paint, get it loaded up, and then I just make a spiral shape. And ideally, if this is all set up and dry, then this purple will also show up a lot more over the top. But just making a spiral is another just fun, stylized way to do a rose. So that's that first step, and then you can just do a little outside edge here around this. This also matches the stencil that we gave you, so let me show you that real quick too. So you can also use that to use it as completely as your total pattern. So you can use the spiral that we have, but that's basically what it'll look like. So some people definitely prefer this. So we have that as an option, or you can do it with the white over the top. And actually, let me show you what that looks like over here. So I've got my white paint, and I'll just do a quick little spiral. But you can just tell it's just a different look, and it's pretty easy too. So it just kind of depends on what you like. Or you could do a little bit of a mixture of both. So I'm going to come in with this one and do a little bit of that white with the purple. Alright, so very fun. Got our fun little roses done now. Okay, so next up, we need to define our cute little turtle. And what I did here, I'm going to give you a quick reference back to the model. So I have a lot of these little white dots and dashes that happen all around that shape. Alright, so what I do now, I've got a couple of fun little tricks for you. And I do a dot technique first. So I'm going to use the handle of the brush just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and push right into the white paint. And then just push straight forward. And this will make those fun little dots. This is lovely because it always ends up being the same size every single time. Because if you actually try to paint on dots, it can be crazy because they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And they just grow on you, and it's not fun sometimes. So this makes it a lot easier. So I will take these fun little dots and I'll take them all the way around the shapes. the other thing that these little white dots can be, they can almost look like a little bit of baby's breath happening in your bouquet, which is also a really fun look too. So for example, I'll do a couple right in here. A little lovely, looks like little white flowers kind of peeking through. And this is also very therapeutic, believe it or not. It's just a, I don't know, you kind of lose yourself in this process. So we all need a little bit of losing ourselves in something. So kind of just helps you forget, de-stress. It's a lot of dots. Okay, hold on. We're going to wrap it up here in just a second. Alright, I think I've pretty well covered it. The other thing you can do with this too, if you want like a polka dot pattern inside as well, we did little flowers, we did the polka dot pattern around the edge work. If you wanted little dot patterns over your the seashell pattern, if you were going for more of a traditional shape like this, then you could actually do, let me give you a quick reference on that too, but basically we could do polka dot pattern like inside this shape here too, which would also be really fun. So something to think about. All right, now what we need to do is all the line work in between those dots. So I'm going to come in with my little buddy. So this is my little buddy brush. He's got a little flat top there, and I go ahead and I just push right into the paint, load it up, and then push it into a nice, you want to make sure that it's nice and flat and thin, nice thin line on the end. So you can push that towards the camera, nice thin line there. And then I go ahead and do my little lines. Just a soft sketch of a line in between the dots. Sometimes the bristles can get very filled with paint and it will make them kind of spread out like that. And what I recommend is just rinsing it out in your water, drying off your brush, reloading, and then starting again. All right, so I'm getting into a little bit of a small area here where I need to steady my hand just a bit. So a fun little trick on this is just rest the weight of your hand on your pinky, and then this will help stabilize your hands. You can do some smaller moves in some tighter spaces. So that's a helpful little trick there. Kind of acts like a training wheel on a bike. So again, just rest the weight of your hand on your pinky. Alright, so I've got our little sketches of lines, I think going everywhere. And then, let's see here. I still have cute little bubbles that I can do that represent kind of an abstracted underwater look, if you will. Alright, so I've got little bit brush again and just some white paint. And you can add a hint of another color here too. So if you want to add like a little bit of some, let's do some blue. Or even purple can be really pretty. Maybe both. Alright, it's kind of nice. Like a periwinkle. So I do a big circle. I touch back in with that white, get a nice soft blend between the two. So another one of those. Kind of looks like you're making little donuts or Cheerios. Make a little bit smaller one. I vary the size of these. I make one a little bit bigger and then one a little bit smaller. As they continue to go up, I make them a little bit smaller in size as I go up. Yes, I do too. Use your pinky all the time. It helps. I've seen some artists that do some pretty serious realism. They will actually rig up a system that goes across their painting that's stabilized, and they will rest their hands on it while they go and do a lot of their precision work close by. It's pretty neat. But for this kind of work, it's just okay just to have your little pinky. It's just always available. Hopefully you still have your pinkies. Alright, so we have lots of fun little bubbles going everywhere. And then I need to do a couple of little eyes. Now you can do this with Sharpie when your painting completely dries, or you can just do it with your little bit brush and just some black paint. And the basic shape of it is really just like a little parentheses. So I take my little bit, do a little twist into the paint here to get a nice fine point, and then I just do little parentheses, and then another little parentheses here off to the side. It's just that little reference to the eyes there. Same thing here. All right, let's see. I know there was something. Oh, yeah. All right, so we've got our little scale patterns here, and I think they need a little bit of an outline to really help them pop and really come forward. So I'm going to use a little bit of the black and my little bit brush here. Do want to make sure that my brush is nice and clean and dry. I don't want any water runs, or in this case, if you had a water run, it would look like a mascara run going down your canvas. We do not want that. So I do a nice little twist into the black paint. Loads it up, but it also twists it into a nice fine point. Uh-oh. That's trouble right there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but we're losing a big hair. Ooh, those are naughty. Those are not nice. I'm glad I saw that. Okay, if you see that, you gotta pull those out or cut them off because they'll just drag right over your surface area. Not fun. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and come around this little shape here. See, this pattern was becoming a little bit lost, but now that we do the black outline around it, it will start to pop out over the surface area here. This can also be easily done with a Sharpie. I think I said that before, but just in case. It's a little bit easier to do fine detail line work, especially with the black, with the Sharpie, and most of us have a Sharpie at home. You just want to make sure that your paint is completely dry, or it will ruin a Sharpie instantly. You'll just have to throw it in the trash. It's really sad. But yay! That's looking awesome. Okay, so I think we're almost getting to be done. There's one other thing you could do. It just kind of depends on your taste. You can leave all of this a little bit just kind of raw, or if you like the look of a black outline coming in and around the leaves, it can be kind of nice because they are coming up against that turquoise, and so they get a little lost. So I may want to go ahead and add a little bit of that black, just a little hint of this line around those tiny little leaves. And that way you can tell what they are. And that basic shape, again, is either, sometimes I make it look kind of like the letter V, or it's like that, like parentheses, parentheses on each side. And thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I'm liking this little hard line around the leaves. I think that's helping. Because now I know what they are. A few more of those. Remember to do nice little twists here. One more. Okay. Yay! All right. Getting really happy with that. All right, so there's a little bit of lettering you can do too. Thank you, thank you. So we can do no lettering. That's always optional. You can just leave it just the way it is. Or you can come in and do a little bit of lettering. I've got a little space right here, and in the model I had the word love coming across. So what I like to do now, I need my little bit brush, and then also what I do normally recommend is let everything set up and dry, and then just to make sure you plan for your words so that you've got enough room, I tell people to take the pencil. I've got one right here. And then again, making sure it's dry, you can work out your word in a space. That way you know that it fits and you're not running into a shape, or actually some people will actually run off the canvas and get halfway down with their word because the painted word becomes so much bigger than they anticipated. So it's good to always plan it out with a pencil on a dry canvas, and then that way you can erase anything that's left over, and it's just a really nice boost that gives you a lot of confidence too, because once that's down with pencil, then you know where it is and you can just follow it with your paintbrush. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little sketch, just like that. And then I will follow it with my white paint and my little bit brush. And you can kind of let some of this go if you like a little bit of that dry brush happening. It's actually a popular thing now that they're doing. Fonts are just left with a dry brush look. So, see Mike Wimmer. Mike, don't look. Mike Wimmer is an amazing artist, and he does photorealism. He can do a face that looks just like a photograph of my face in the same time that it took me to do this little sea turtle. So, yeah, he's another one you need to watch for, oh my gosh, he's amazing. So, howdy. All right. So I think we are now done with our beautiful little sea turtle, our mama sea turtle, and our baby sea turtles. And then traditionally you sign your sweet little masterpiece anywhere. I mean, you're just, you know, you don't have to follow any rules on this if you don't want to. Some people do it on the side of the canvas. Traditionally, yes, it is done in the bottom right-hand corner. Sometimes that can get a little bit big with paint, so a nice little cheat for beginners is just to use a fun little Sharpie. And then in this case, where it's black, you can do like a gold or a, I'll use like a metallic gold or like a metallic silver to sign my pieces where I have the black paint. That way it shows up and I can do it really tiny and have a lot more control, and I'll give you an example of that. Look at that signature. Maybe I had a little wine when I did that. That's okay. Just whatever. Just silly. This is silly therapy art. You know, that's what it needs to be. All right. So yay! Very exciting. We are done with our lovely little mama sea turtle and baby sea turtles. Y'all have done an amazing job. I just know it. I can't wait to see all of your finished results as you send me awesome little pictures. And as promised, I'll be sure to post all the links for all the packets, so, you know, order online. You know, that little shameless plug there. All right, so we have all your brushes, your paints, your canvas, and then my honey bear makes these templates so that you don't have to know how to draw. So we've got mama turtle, baby turtle, we have little roses, and little leaves, okay, all kinds of fun stuff. So it makes it really, really easy. So I'll post all the links for you, all the pictures of all the tracings. You can see what I started out with. And isn't that beautiful? No, I forget that one. But yes, yay, it's exciting. All right, so we are done. And now we're gonna go spend time with our mamas. It's going to be amazing. We're gonna have a fun day. We're gonna go have a picnic. So y'all have a beautiful rest of the day. Happy Mother's Day. Take care, and I will see you soon for sure next Tuesday. I'm going live next Tuesday at 12 noon. So anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. Mwah.